Ever wonder why no one talks about the dark side of being a PhD student? That's because universities need you more than you need them. After spending years in academia, I discovered why 1 out of 3 students are affected by mental health issues, why research freedom is largely a myth, and why some professors even delay your graduation. Before we start, quick introduction. Hi, if you don't know me yet, I'm Ainur, and I'm a third-year PhD student at Imperial College London, and I made it my mission to teach you every secret I know in academia, video by video, through all my social media channels. So let's dive right into the video. So let's start right away with first harsh truth about a PhD. 41% of grad school students suffer from moderate anxiety. 39% show moderate up to severe depression. And over 40% of PhD students believe that mental health issues are part of a PhD. And that's not something that I made up. That's what a study has shown recently. So these are all fact-proven things. And this does not sound normal to me. 40%, that's quite high. That's almost every second PhD student suffers from some sort of anxiety, mental health issue, up to even depression. 40% depressive. Think about that. Yeah, that's one harsh truth about academia, about a PhD that no one talks about. So now that we've digested this, let's look at, first of all, why this happened and how we can prevent this to happen to us, right? Even before we start our journey, but then also during a PhD journey, things that we can actively do to not get anxiety and to not get depressive. So the first thing lies in the nature of working in academia. So it's a very unstructured plan. Research is not really trackable. It's not like in your undergrads where you have your exams and then you know exactly where you're standing. You know, okay, I have a total of 30 exams and I already did 25. I'm almost done with my degree, right? So with a PhD, it's not like that. So you put in all the work and you try and you work on your research problem, but there is no one that can tell you that you're on the track, that you're making good progress. You can literally not compare your work with anyone else's work because that's just not how research works. Everybody has their own problems, their own research problems, their own starting points. And some research, for example, takes years and years of work where you build your equipment, where you design your material until you get to a point where you can finally publish something. So it feels like you work for nothing. And this causes anxiety. And I feel this myself. I'm in my 3rd PhD year right now. I haven't published a single paper. And I feel like the time is just moving on. It's racing. And I'm still working on my model and I'm trying to get it work. And then I just get anxious, And this is super, super hard. So one thing you can do about it is really accept the fact that this is just how research is and get okay with that. At least a little bit lowers down the anxiety, but I'm going to be honest with you, it's really hard to get rid of it entirely. But maybe we can dampen it a bit by talking about it with our peers and understanding that this is just how research is. Now, another reason that really peaks up anxiety, or that's how I felt is when I transitioned from being a master's student to a PhD student, I felt okay, now I have to be an independent researcher, I have to know everything, I have to figure it out by myself. And then I realized I couldn't do that because obviously I'm just starting out with a new research topic. I've never done research before, and that just creates for me, it created a lot of anxiety because I felt like a fraud, okay? Because I felt okay, I need to know all that stuff. I don't know it, not feel anxious about that, right? It's impossible. So I think what's good is to just know that in the beginning you are a PhD student, yes, and then over the time, over these 4 years, you will slowly transition to become an independent researcher, but you can't be an independent researcher from the beginning on. That's very unlikely. So again, we need to reduce our expectations a little bit, just, get a reality check and then really hope that we can, with that reality check, can dampen our anxiety levels a little bit. But overall, anxiety is at its all-time high and depression as well, unfortunately, under a PhD student. And that's a reality that almost no one talks about, right? Now, let's move on to number 2 of the harsh realities. Supervisors can make or break your PhD. And I mean that with every word I say, and I stand behind it. Look, a lot of people, most of us, when we apply for research positions, for our PhD positions, what do we look at? Global top 10 universities in the world. Most published papers from the professor, H-index at Google Scholar, okay? That's the stuff that we look at. Does the research match? Is the professor good in their field? Has the university a good reputation? The research group, that's what we look at. You know what? You can be in the best university in the world. You can be supervised by a professor that is the best in their field, right? And you can have a horrible, depressive PhD experience. And that is because you need to understand how your PhD supervisor works. And there are so many toxic PhD supervisors out there. I've done an entire video about this. You can have a look at it here. And a good PhD supervisor is your academic mentor. You will learn, you will flourish, you will grow under a good PhD supervisor. A toxic one will cause the exact same things that I mentioned before, anxiety and depression. And I I've witnessed this with a lot of PhD colleagues of mine at different universities as well. It happens all the time. So what you can do to prevent this is, obviously look at the reputation of the university and the research group, do all that. But on top of that, at your interview with your supervisor, look up for current PhD students of that professor and talk to them. Talk to the current students, ask them how their work mentality is, whether they're happy in their workspace. And these things are important because a PhD is such a long journey, guys. Do not, please don't underestimate this. It's 40 years. Sometimes it takes even longer than that. And then you have to cope with a toxic PhD supervisor. Don't do this to yourself. You are worth much more than that. Watch out for your supervisor. That's step number 2. Now, harsh reality number 3. And that one is really harsh. You maybe think academia values quality over quantity, but you're wrong, okay? And this is so hard to digest because you have to think of it like this. Usually if you want to do something really great, right, and you do, let's say you do research on a topic that is nobody looked at yet, and it's such a great invention, and you really want to discover this thing, and it would have such huge impact on humanity and stuff. But guess what? That's not something that you can do so easily. So in your 4 to 6 years PhD, you might just start that project, right, and everything will fail, and you might not even publish a single paper on it because guess what? It's a super hard research project. It has a huge impact on the world, but it's not a lower hanging fruit that you can just grab and publish a paper on it, right? So would you do that? No, obviously not. You're a young scholar, you're a young academic, you need papers to publish, that academic drilling culture, okay? Publish or perish. And you need to get these papers out, and you need to attend conferences, present your work, build up a publication list and all that. And you can't do that with super high quality work. So what oftentimes happens, and I'm not saying always, but oftentimes quality is something that takes a hit, and then you just focus on quantity. Okay, what is the work? You start thinking, okay, what is the work that I can quickly publish? What is the work that I can just put out there and get another paper out there? And what can we put together and stuff? Unfortunately, oftentimes that is how academia is. And if you look at, that's what my professor said recently. He said, if you look at the scientists that have such a huge impact in the world, some of them have just very few publications because they spend their entire life working on that one problem until it cracks, until they get it. And then if you look at their publication list, it's ridiculous. It's almost nothing, right? But the impact of their work is immense. But to get there, it's a hard journey until you get that credibility. So that's harsh truth number 3. Harsh truth number 4. And that's something that I'm experiencing right now. So you watch your peers over-earn you in salary, build their careers while you're still stuck at school, at university, working on your research problem. So this is something that maybe in the beginning you don't care much about it because your peers, they've also just graduated, they've also just started their entry-level jobs. But as your PhD continues, as you're in your 4th, 5th year of your PhD, you'll see how your peers get level up in their careers, get higher salaries, and really have these great jobs, but you're still stuck on your PhD stipend and still stuck on your research problem that looks like it's not going anywhere at all. And I feel this because my husband and I, we graduated at the same time, but he chose to go to industry and I chose to stay in academia, right? And now he's at a stage where he gets he builds his career, he gets better job opportunities, he gets a higher salary and all that. And I'm just this is a good life actually, earning a decent salary and having a job that you love and a crew that you love and just seeing progress in your career at all. So this is something that over time creeps up for PhD students, and again then you just question your entire PhD choice. So what you can do here is first of all to know this from the beginning, but then also clarify your why. Okay, why are you doing this? Okay, don't do this because you think okay, I don't know what else to do, let me just do a PhD. A PhD is not something that you just do. It really is not. It should be a well thought through decision. So for me, it's because I love being at uni, okay? I still even though I envy and I like what my husband does, for me, industry at the moment is not an option, okay? I still see myself in academia. Just it overweighs the things that I see in industry. And everybody has their own whys, so make sure that your why is strong, okay? Because these things can be very tempting. Now, moving on to the final harsh truth of being a PhD student. Number 5. So you'll feel isolated in your own research bubble. And this is something that I didn't thought will happen, because I thought, okay, like I'm going to join this research group, and this research group is working on the same field. Everybody works, like, for example, for me, I work on computational fluid dynamics, on multi-phase flows, and I thought, okay, the entire group works on that. How isolated can I be with my research problem, right? Well, I couldn't be more isolated because everybody works like on such a different topic within that broader topic of the research group. And then it's just like you do your work and nobody knows what you're working on, or maybe they just know briefly what you're working on. And the more time goes by, the deeper you go into your research topic and the more isolated you get. So there's literally almost no one to talk to about your research project. And if you don't know something, then it's up to you to figure it out. There's just no one that you can go to and be like, hey, since you're also working on this, I was wondering, can we just like exchange ideas here? And no, that's just not gonna happen. Everybody has like their own struggles, their own topic, and yeah, you're all there isolated with your own research problem. So what helps here is, first of all, even though people work on different things, to still connect with them and like explain your research topic, just to have like maybe 1 or 2 people who know more details about your work, so at least you can have this one-sided conversation where you just talk about your research thing and they just listen. Because I often realize that even just by talking and explaining my problem, I sometimes find the solution myself. So to have someone to talk to is absolutely a great thing to do, but also you have to feel comfortable in just being alone with your research problem. That's basically the learning curve, the development curve that we go through during a PhD. All right, that sums up my 5 harsh truths about a PhD. Now, I don't want to like discourage you about doing a PhD. All I'm saying here is be careful when you choose your supervisor. Be careful when you decide why to do a PhD, right? And also take care of yourself, of your anxiety levels, of your depression levels, of your mental health. Put it first, okay? And also be okay with being imperfect in academia, right? And embrace the journey. And if you take care of these things, I'm sure that I hope that you won't fit into these 40% that suffer from anxiety and depression, because there are still 60% who don't. And I can say for myself that I'm very happy with my PhD. I do have some anxiety at some parts of my PhD, but definitely not depression. Not yet. We'll see about that in a couple of years. But it all comes down, I feel like the most important part is also picking the right supervisor, okay? So just make sure that you've thought this through before you started. It's not all that bad, but there are very bad PhD experiences as well, okay? This is not just a clickbait or something. The statistics speak for themselves. Also, the statistics are linked in the description box, so you can have a look at the paper yourself. And with that, before I end this video, just 30 seconds, okay? First of all, I post daily academic tips on my Instagram account, where you can just scan the QR code here and follow me there. Super useful, don't miss out on it. And also, this YouTube channel is super small. It's a baby channel. You see it yourself. We have like a little above 2,000 subscribers here, so every like, comment, share means a lot. I mean, even if you don't feel comfortable commenting and you don't want to do this, just like the video if you liked it. If it was any kind of help to you, just leave a little like. That would mean a lot for a baby channel like this to grow, because the more we grow, the better videos I can produce for you guys. Maybe in the future I can invite some experts, hosts, this can be a really useful channel for you, but for that I need your support. So the least you can do is just to like it, and if you want to support more, share it with your friends, comment, means the world to me. Thank you for watching and have a great day wherever you are. Bye bye.